Hi everyone, it's Jeanette Bell. I'm your instructor for History 105. These are my comments for Lesson 3. In Lesson 3, we're talking about the ancient civilizations of the Indus River Valley, as well as in China. So in the Indus River Valley, I need to make sure that you guys realize that that's where we get the word India from, of course, and that the Harappan society, we don't really know too much about it. We don't have any writings from them. And remember, history is the writing of the culture from the people themselves. But we can still recreate or interpret the material remains and come up with a fairly good idea of the society itself. Okay? The Harappan society fell when those Indo-Europeans came down from the north, and we're not sure exactly if it was a peaceful takeover or if it was more like migrations and then kind of like infiltrations, absorptions, kind of like it could have been maybe what happened like with the Vikings. The Vikings started off in a violent conflict, but then eventually settled in and became what we know as France and Lombard and other places like that, the Normans, for instance. So we don't really know about the Harappan society. They're very In fact, we didn't even know about them until less than 100 years ago. We didn't know that they even existed until the 1920s, which is pretty remarkable. The next region that we went to was China. China, how is Chinese organization? How does it organize society? Is what I'm trying to ask. It is based on a philosophy. It's based on Confucianism. It's based on the idea of the mandate of heaven and who is the one that gets the mandate of heaven, the Son of Heaven. How is society organized? We've got the 5 great relationships of Confucius that we're going to learn about in more depth later on. And so in India, we found out that they have a Varna system, or a jati system, caste system. It's kind of sort of talking all about the same thing, different words, kind of. Where there are, in India, the society is based on, social structure is based on your occupation. What do you do? Are you a Brahmin, which is the highest of the classes, or are you a peasant, which is the lowest? The so-called untouchables, or the Dalits, aren't even on the scale. They are in a category all by themselves. So what is it that you do? It's not based on how much money you make. For instance, those so-called untouchables, some of them are pretty wealthy because they get paid a lot of money to do the dirty work that nobody else wants to do, like prepare the dead for cremation, pick up the trash, things like that. The Brahmins, on the other hand, are some of the poorest people because they don't work for a living, in terms of they don't have a shop, they don't go to work like someone who owns a shop, someone who's a warrior, someone who's a ruler. They can only do what Brahmins do. The rulers, the second class, can only do what they do. Okay, and also they only marry within each other's class. Brahmins can only marry Brahmins, untouchables can only marry untouchables, that kind of thing. So that's what's going on in India. How is society organized in China? Well, as we're going to find out in more depth later on, it's based on a relationship. And it's basically an elder-younger relationship. For instance, father-son, ruler-ruled, husband-wife, things like that. And you're going to find out more about that. I have come across a really interesting series on YouTube by John Green, not the same author as Fault in Your Stars, but he is a history teacher. He's a teacher, just all kinds of really cool stuff. And he does the Crash Course. So if you want to go to Crash Course World History, you can pick the topic. China, he's got a good one on Confucius in China. He's got several really good ones. Okay. And I've embedded a couple of them in later on lessons. They're really quick. They are crash courses, okay, and they're not very in-depth, but they give you a different voice to hear. They give you different ideas, maybe different ways of thinking about stuff. He talks really fast, faster than I do. So you might want to put it on captions so that you can see or watch literally what he's talking about. Okay? All right, now you have turned in your topics for the term paper. Keep in mind the general heading is not the topic. It is the link. That's the topic. That's the primary source that you're going to write on. I guess topic really isn't a good word to use. Instead, you're going to write on the primary source. You're going to give me your interpretation. You're going to be the historian for the day and give me your interpretation of the link, the primary source. Okay? Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Please refer to the previous announcement talking about the term paper. If you have not turned in your topic, do so now. Okay? Refer to the previous announcement on that. Everything else, you guys are doing really great. Make sure you know that oracle bones are the precursors to Chinese writing, but also, that's a two-parter in the quiz, they are also glimpses of early Chinese history, because who is the one commissioning the oracle bones? Who's the one reading the oracle bones? It's the rulers, okay? Yeah, the fortune teller is actually doing the work, but it's only for rulers. It's not for you or me. You know, am I going to get a good grade on this test? Am I going to pass this course? That's not what the oracle bones are about. The oracle bones are, should I go to war now? Will the crop come in successfully in the fall? Those are the kinds of questions that they're asking. And since they're asking those questions and we have the answers according to the fortune teller, we have an idea, we have a glimpse of what's important to the rulers of the time or what challenges and problems they're having. So that's kind of an interesting way of going about history. And of course, they are the precursors to early Chinese writing. So that's the relationship between the oracle bones and and Chinese writing. So please make sure you get that under your belt. And that's all for now. Talk to you later. Thanks.